Welcome to the Sellin' Podcast with Jeffrey Greif. Jeffrey has spent more than 45 years in sales and marketing. And for more than 25 years, he's presented sales seminars from large corporations to small businesses, as well as teaching university students all about the pride and passion of sales. Now, he's sharing that knowledge and practical advice with you to fast-track your journey to sales success. Whether you're selling a product, a service, or ideas, this is the Sellin' Podcast. And now your host, Jeffrey Greif.
To quote Shakespeare in Romeo and Juliet, "What is in a name? That which we call a rose by any other word would smell as sweet." Well, Juliet, maybe in love, but not when it comes to sales. In sales and in business, someone's name is branding. It's their identity. And it's first impressions that last a lifetime. In sales and in business, you've got to remember people's names. Believe me, Juliet, if you're trying to sell Romeo on eloping with you, you don't want to be accidentally calling him Murray or Bob or Sid. No. You want to sell him on something important like eloping with you? You'd better be calling him by his proper name, which is Romeo. My brothers and sisters on the path to success in sales, have you ever struggled with remembering people's names? Have you ever wondered why some people just can't seem to remember your name? In this episode of the Sellin' Podcast, you will learn the strategies of name recognition so you will never forget another person's name, and they will never forget your name either. When meeting people, especially in business and in sales, when you're meeting with people, you have got to know their names. You have got to remember their names, and you've got to use their names. It's an integral part of the sales process. Why? Here are some thoughts about the importance of using people's names. Using people's names lets them know that you are being attentive to them and that they should be paying attention to you, that what you have to say is important to them. When you use people's names, you have their attention. Let me ask you this question. Have you ever been in a crowd of people, dozens, perhaps hundreds, or maybe even thousands of people, and they're all talking at the same time, and it's a mass of words and a jumble in your mind that you're not really paying attention to? And then suddenly, someone somewhere says your name. You immediately are attentive, yes? Immediately. You immediately notice that someone just said your name. Could be a friend, could be a complete stranger. Someone says your name and you immediately are attentive to whomever said your name. Isn't that right? You turn to look and you focus your attention towards anyone who just said your name. Happens every time. Why? Because saying someone's name immediately grabs their attention, immediately focuses them on your words. When you say somebody's name, it immediately focuses them on what is that you are saying. When you are presenting on a sales call, saying someone's name immediately grabs their attention and focuses them on your presentation, your proposal. I start every sales presentation saying the other person's name. In fact, when I am presenting a sales presentation, and if I see the client's or prospect's attention waning in any way during the sales presentation, I'll say their name. I will incorporate their name into the sentence that I am saying or the question that I am asking. Bill, how do you feel about my proposal so far? Or I'll say, this is an important consideration that must be addressed, Irving. Don't you agree? Or I'll say, let's have that contract signed today, Sydney. Saying their name grabs the attention of the other person who you are speaking to. Using people's names, it gives them recognition, very important. When you say someone's name, they are flattered. You are recognizing them as an important individual. You are flattering them by remembering and repeating their name. You are letting them know that you consider them to be a very special person, that you care about them. And remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It's flattering to use other people's names. They'll know you care. Also, using people's names builds rapport. It builds a connection. Remember, rapport builds trust, and people don't do business with you if they don't trust you. Use their name and you build that rapport, that trust. It's a technique that brings you that much closer to the sale. Using people's names also builds likability. People like to do business with people who they like, right? Why do people feel emotional and tend to like you when they hear you call them by their name? Well, people love to hear their own name. The reason is, who was the first set of people to call you by your name? It was probably your parents, right? Or those who raised you. There is an immediate bond to parents when you are first born and in your earliest formative years. And the first words that your parents spoke to you was your name, of course. And you associated your name to love and connection. Your name is probably the first word that you ever heard. Most likely the first word you ever learned to say after mommy and daddy. And it was most likely the first words that you ever learned to spell. Think about the emotion that you feel about your name. Think about the emotion that other people feel about their name. It is ingrained in our psychology. We just love to hear other people speak our name. I love to hear other people use my name. Jeffrey. Yes, I love it. Everybody loves to hear someone say their name. It's ingrained in our psychology. People truly do feel emotional about their own name. So use people's names and they will feel this emotional bond to you, an emotional pull. There's a bond when you use other people's names. As discussed in prior episodes of the Sell Podcast, remember, people buy based on emotion and then they justify their purchase decision based on logic. When you call someone by their name, they'll tend to like you. When they like you, they feel positive emotions about you. They trust you. When you feel this emotional pull towards someone, you're more open to their proposal. When other people hear you call them by their name, they feel these positive emotions about you. They will be more open to considering your sales proposal and buy from you. I'd like to make a very important point about using other people's names. This is so important. Using people's names is so important. Of course, we've already established that. So, do yourself a favor and use the name that they want you to use. See, when I introduce myself to someone as Jeffrey and they immediately respond with, "Nice to meet you, Jeff," I think to myself, obviously I want to be called Jeffrey because I just introduced myself to them as Jeffrey. And they respond with Jeff? It's kind of annoying. My name is Jeffrey. Hello, Jeff. What the is that about? Are they not paying attention? Or perhaps are they thinking that by immediately being less formal and truncating my name, that they are somehow forming a bond with me, a familiarity by shortening my name? They're not. I think it's kind of disrespectful, don't you? I see it all the time. Someone introduces themselves as Joseph and the other person says, "Hi, Joe." If the guy introduces himself as Joseph, he obviously wants to be called Joseph, not Joe, not Jojo, not Joey. It's Joseph. Guy introduces himself as William, and people say, "Nice to meet you, Bill." The guy just introduced himself as William. He wants to be called William, not Bill, not Billy, not Willie. He wants to be referred to as William. A woman introduces herself as Rebecca. Don't call her Becky. It's Rebecca. I have a very good friend of mine in the business. When he introduces himself as Charles. I can't tell you how many times people respond with, "Nice to meet you, Charlie." This isn't junior high school. This is business. Someone introduces themselves as Louis. Don't call him Lou. Don't call him Louie. No. Somebody introduces themselves as Louis. Call him Louis. Someone introduces themselves as Charles. Call him Charles. When someone introduces themselves, use the name that they introduce themselves with. It's important. And when you already know someone's name prior to meeting them, when you're making a sales call and you've never met them before, use their full name. If the name they use on their LinkedIn page or the name that they use on their website is their full name, when you first meet them, use their full name. And then if they prefer a truncated version of their name, they will let you know. You're making a sales call for the first time, and the person's LinkedIn page and their company website states that their name is Richard. Call them Richard. If they have a preference, they'll correct you and say, "Feel free to call me Rich or Rick or whatever." But when you're first meeting someone and you know their name, use their full name. Use the name that they show on their company website or their LinkedIn page. You're making a sales call for the first time and the person's LinkedIn page states their name as Susan. Call them Susan. If they have a preference, they'll let you know. "Please call me Sue." But until that time, you'd better be calling them Susan. Walk into that sales meeting and call her Susie, and your proposal is dead in the water. Using people's names flatters them. In a business setting, using their correct name shows that you are prepared and that you are paying attention. So when somebody introduces themselves and they use their full name, use their full name. Use the name that people want you to use. Using their correct name shows that you are serious in developing rapport, and using their correct name shows that you are serious in having a serious business relationship. Don't truncate people's names until they tell you it's okay to do so. The client feels that they have an emotional connection to you and you to them when you're using their name. So use people's names often. It will help you to remember their name and it will develop rapport. One caveat. What I'm saying here is use people's names often. However, not too often. Why? Because overuse of their name seems kind of forced. Be authentic. Use their name, but not too much, right? Using their name, using other people's names builds rapport, and it helps you to remember their name, but don't use their name too much. Let's say use their name 3 to 5 times during a 10-minute or a 15-minute sales call, but no more than 5 times. Using other people's names also personalizes the conversation. It makes the conversation so much more engaging and persuasive. It's basic human psychology. Saying someone's name activates dopamine in their brains, the motivation hormone. Don't you want your clients and prospects to be motivated when you're speaking to them? Of course you do. So use their names. And most especially, saying someone's name activates oxytocin, the bonding hormone in people's brains. Don't you want people to feel more rapport with you? Of course you do. So use their names. Bonding, rapport, trust, which in turn increases your chances of making a sale. See, when a client feels recognized, truly valued, emotionally engaged, they are more emotionally receptive to your advice and your proposal. Use their name, and here are some techniques that I have learned over these many, many years in sales to remember other people's names. Number 1, tell them your name first. All over the world, no matter what society, when someone tells you their name, you are compelled to tell them your name. Isn't that right? Say your name first, and the other person will respond by telling you their name. Hello, my name is Jeffrey. Now, my brothers and sisters on the path to success in sales, wouldn't you just love to tell me your name? Right? I just told you my name. Don't you feel compelled to tell me your name? Of course you do. So send me a text in the show notes. Say hello, tell me your name, and let me know what you sell. Or feel free to send me an email at jeffrey@sellin.net. That's .net as in networking for success in sales. Let me know your name and let me know a topic that you would like me to discuss on the Sellin podcast. I would love to hear from you. Oh, one more thing. When you say your name to other people, especially when you're meeting them for the first time, say your name a little slower than usual and smile. Smile an authentic smile. Smile with your eyes. Say your name a little slower than usual with a smile, and people will remember your name. Number 2, ask. Ask other people for their name. If they haven't yet told you their name, ask, "What's your name?" And if it helps, say something like, "Sorry, I didn't catch your name." They will tell you their name. And if after you have told them your name and after you have asked them to tell you their name and they still don't tell you their name, after you've said the sentence, "What is your name?" or "Sorry, I didn't catch your name," if they still haven't told you their name, they're a sociopath. And you don't want to do business with them anyway, so walk away. When you ask other people their name or you tell them their name first, they're going to tell you their name. Number 3, when you first meet someone, focus on their name when they first say it. I mean, really focus. Be attentive. Really listen and focus on their name. It'll help you to remember their name. See, the reason why we forget other people's names when they introduce themselves to us is because a lot of times when people are first telling us their name, we just aren't paying attention. We're focused on other things, the occasion, the room, our thoughts, the food, other people walking around, what's for lunch. You're thinking about the time that you struck out at baseball in the 5th grade. I don't know what you're thinking about. Whatever. We just aren't paying attention. So when other people tell you their name, really try to focus on their name. Be attentive. Listen for their name. And when they tell you their name, repeat their name a few times during the conversation. "Hello, John. Nice to meet you, John. Did you attend this event last year, John? Who else do you know here, John? What do you do for a living, John? John, are you here with your business partners?" Mention their name several times. Also, when breaking away from someone, always say their name again. "It was a pleasure to meet you, Lisa. I look forward to following up with you next week. Joan, it was so nice to meet you. Let's compare calendars in the new year and get in some informal business networking together. Louis, it was a pleasure to see you again. I look forward to meeting with you and your partners next month to discuss doing business together." Repetition helps you to remember their name. So, in addition to using their name several times when you're having a conversation with them, also use their name when breaking away. "It was a pleasure to meet you, Louis. I look forward to seeing you again at the next event." Repetition helps you to remember the name. Number 4, association. If you can, try to associate something to their name, perhaps something physical about them. Think to yourself, what is it about this person that I can associate to their name? Guy's name is Jackson Brown, and his eyes are brown. You'll think about his name next time you see him. You'll remember his name, right? Guy's name is Brown and his eyes are brown. You will remember his name because you've associated something to their name. Try to link some unique visual cue to their name. This is sometimes a tough one, I gotta say. This isn't easy, but if you can find a way to do this, you will never, ever, ever forget their name. Try to identify something about them that links to their name. If a guy has a scar on his face and his name is Mark, you'll never forget his name. If you meet a woman named Anne Marie who has high cheekbones and your Aunt Anne Marie had high cheekbones, that's an association. You'll never forget her name. If a man has a cleft chin and his name is Cliff, you'll never forget his name. Someone's name is Tom and they're tall. Think of them as Tall Tom. You'll never forget their name. Sometimes it's a stretch, but if you can do this, you'll remember their name just as well. Associating something physical about them is the best way to remember someone's name. But it doesn't have to be a physical association. It could be anything. The event you're at, or a mutual friend, or just about anything, some type of association to their name. This woman's name is Elizabeth, and we're in Union County, and one of the municipalities in Union County is Elizabeth. You'll remember her name. A woman's name is Goldie, and I had a cousin Goldie. I'll remember her name. Sometimes it can be a weak association, and it'll still work. I met a man several years ago whose name is Howard, and I have a close friend of mine whose name is Howard, so I made that association. Also, I met someone many years ago whose name is Bert. This is a weak association, but it worked. His name is Bert. I remembered his name by remembering that when I was in second grade, I had a friend of mine whose name was Bert. Now, I only see the new Bert maybe once a year, maybe not even that much anymore, but I never, ever forget his name. Why? The association. I mean, it's a weak association, but it's an association, and it works. By the way, I haven't seen the Bert of my second grade class in second grade. Someone's name is Bob or Dylan. Think of one of Bob Dylan's songs and associate their name to them. I don't know if that'll work, but you get my point. Be creative. Have fun with this. Try to find some unique physical attribute or some unique part of their name or something about the place where you both met, something about your business or something about their business or the social connection that you can associate to them. See, when our brains make an association, our synapses make a link, weak or strong, but there is a link, an association which helps us in remembering the name. The association will help you to remember their name. Number 5, compliment the person with something about them when you say their name during the conversation. It'll help you to make an association. Remember their name. I don't know why this helps to remember people's names, but it does. If you see something about them when you first meet them that you admire, let them know. And when you let them know, say their name. That's right, say their name. Joe, I just love that tie. Christine, those shoes are beautiful. Phyllis, I so admire your involvement with this trade association. Fred, I really appreciate that article that you sent me about XYZ. The business reference reminded me of you and our first conversation. Thank you very much, Fred. Carrie, how long have you been with the company? Carrie, you are such a trusted employee, one of the people who are the foundation of your company and this industry. See, I'm using Carrie's name and I'm complimenting Carrie as I'm doing that. I will never forget that person's name. Craig, I admire the fact that you are taking this course. Tell me more about it, Craig. Steve, thanks again for introducing me to Harold. I really appreciate that, Steve. Thank you. Richard, I love that suit. Classic style, professional, dress for success. I love it, Richard. Great suit. See, I'm saying their names. I'm complimenting them. I'm making some association. I will never forget their names. Number 6, if you are at a networking event After meeting someone for the first time, as quickly as you can, do your best to write down their name and some association to their name. I'm writing this down. Jill was the tall brunette who introduced me to Kim. I'm writing this down. Carl is the older bald guy who asked me to call him on Monday. I'm writing it down. I'm writing down their name. I'm writing down how I know them. I'm writing down how to follow up with them. Write down their name as quickly as you can and what you are associating to their name as quickly as possible. Write it down. There's an old Chinese saying, the faintest ink is stronger than the keenest memory. Write it down and you will remember these people's names. Number 7, if you are meeting someone for the first time, get their business card and write down some association on the back of the business card. I'll write down all kinds of things. This is a heavyset guy who wouldn't stop talking. This is the striking redhead who said she'd introduce me to the owner of her company. Call her on Tuesday. Whatever it is, get their business card and write down some association. Having their business card and writing something about them on the back of the business card will help you to remember their name. Number 8, when updating your database, your CRM, this is so important. I always do this. When I'm updating my database, I always look these people up on LinkedIn, and I look at their photo for a few seconds on their LinkedIn page. This always helps me to remember the name of the person. Always helps me to remember the association between their face and their name. Very important. Take the time, look them up on LinkedIn or their website page, and look at their face. Take 3 to 5 seconds, just look at their face and repeat their name 3, 5, 10 times. You will remember their name. Number 9, most importantly, this is so important, decide that you are good at remembering people's names. I meet so many people who say, I just have a bad memory. Or they say, I just don't remember people's names. Or they'll say, I'm just not good at names. Bull. That's just lazy thinking. And you're telling yourself and anyone else who will listen that you just don't care enough to remember people's names. Tell yourself that you do remember people's names. Work on it. Tell yourself that you are good at remembering people's names, and you will be good at remembering people's names. The skill of remembering people's names begins with telling yourself that you are good at remembering people's names, that you are, in fact, developing the skill to remember people's names. And it's as simple as that. Everyone, anyone can learn how to remember people's names. You just got to be working on it. That's all. Everyone can learn how to remember other people's names. Everyone. Number 10, repeat people's names over and over and over and over again in your mind. When I'm at a networking event, while paying attention to the conversations, I am constantly repeating people's names over and over and over again in my mind, especially when I meet them for the first time. Let's say I meet 5 people at the same time. During the conversation, I am repeating their names over and over and over again in my mind. I'm looking at them. I'm looking around the group. I'm having a conversation. I'm listening for the most part. I'll interject from time to time, but the most important strategy that I use is repeating people's names over. I'm looking at them and I'm repeating their names over and over again. And then I say people's names during the conversation. You will find yourself in situations where several people have introduced themselves and you're having a conversation with everyone. In your mind, repeat their names over and over and over again. As you are listening and engaging with them, say their names. Say their names in your head over and over again. You will remember their names. Number 11. I've mentioned in a previous episode of the Sell-In Podcast that prior to a sales presentation or prior to an informal business networking event that I have put together, that I write down the names of all of the attendees And just prior to the event, just prior to getting together with them, I will park my car. I will repeat each person's name 100 times and think of their face. Then I say out loud in my car, I practice this. Then I say out loud, making introductions to each and every person and every combination of people who I know will be in attendance. This is a great strategy. It's really a must, even for people you know well, perhaps clients who you've done business with for many, many years. It's important to take the time to further ingrain their names in your memory. Why? Because when you're on the spot, at that critical moment of greeting these people or making introductions to each other, you do not want to forget anyone's name. When you're under pressure and feeling some anxiety, you have got to remember these people's names or you will be terribly embarrassed. And remembering people's names, well, it very well may mean the difference between securing the business or losing it, getting the referral or not getting the referral, looking like the professional salesperson you are or being embarrassed, keeping the relationship you have with the client or losing it. Take the 15 minutes to memorize people's names before the meeting. Write down their names and repeat their names out loud 100 times each name and ingrain their names in your memory, even for those people who you already know. Repeat their names, think of their face, repeat their names over and over and over again. Believe me when I tell you, it'll be well worth the time. Believe me, it will. Number 12. If you do forget someone's name, it isn't the end of the world. Feel less anxiety by understanding that you can honestly act a little embarrassed, aw shucks, be a little self-deprecating and say, gee, I'm sorry, tell me your name again. It's okay. It isn't the end of the world. You're a professional salesperson and you meet a lot of people and you just can't remember everyone's names. Feel less anxiety. When you meet someone and you should know their name, don't feel so bad about it. You're human. You know thousands of people. I know I do. And forgetting someone's name isn't the end of the world. You're a professional salesperson and you meet a lot of people. You just can't remember everyone's names. Heck, I've got more than 6,000 people in my CRM. Think I can recall every single one of their names in an instant? No way. So cut yourself a little slack, feel less anxiety, and understand it's okay to forget someone's name, especially after the first time of meeting them. Tell them you're sorry you forgot their name and ask them for their name again. Now, this is important. If you forget someone's name and you ask them for their name again, don't continue to apologize through the conversation at the end and at the end of the conversation. Don't do that. You'll feel compelled to continue to apologize. Don't. I've seen people do this and it gets a little embarrassing. Much more embarrassing than just forgetting someone's name is to keep telling them over and over and over again through the conversation that you're sorry that you forgot their name. If you do that, you'll be associating in their minds the fact that you forgot their name. And they'll remember that you forgot their name for the rest of their lives. Don't do that. Just ask them for their name again and say something like, I remember we've met. Forgive me, I've forgotten your name. They will tell you their name and just let it be. Don't mention it again. And then start the process all over of remembering their name using the strategies that we are discussing in this episode of the Sell-In Podcast number 13. Remember we discussed in a prior episode of the Sell-In Podcast how important it is to ask questions of other people? Remember we talked about this. When we ask questions, we learn more about people. We learn more about their business. When we ask questions, we control the conversation. We build rapport and trust. And we let the other people know that we care. We let them know we are interested in them. We're asking questions. Asking questions is professional. When we ask prepared questions, prepared, professional, engaging questions, we are telling other people that we care. A great way to remember other people's names is that when we are asking people professional questions about themselves and their business, use their name when asking them the questions. For example, tell me more about your business, Roger. Or, Sally, how long have you been in this business? Or, that's interesting, Connie. Tell me more about why you are studying literature. Or, why are you involved with this trade association, Sam? Use their names when asking them the questions, and you'll never forget their name. Don't just ask the question. Ask the question using their name so it ingrains their name in your memory. Ask questions, use their names, and you'll never forget their name. Number 14, I assume you already maintain a CRM, a customer relationship management software, otherwise known as a contact management software. Yes, you're using a CRM? Good. You should be. Make sure you've got a CRM that syncs to your handheld device, preferably your cell phone. And here's a great tip. When you are at a networking event, and while you're having a conversation with somebody, you see someone across the room whose name you should know, but you forgot their name, remember to look up their name on your mobile device. Take a moment, think of some association you have to them, maybe the name of their firm or the name of someone else at their firm or the town that they live in or the town that their office is in, and look them up. I do this all the time. Many of the networking events that I attend, some have 50 people or 200 or 300 people in attendance, or sometimes the networking events that I attend have upwards of 3,000 or 5,000 people in attendance. Think I remember all of their names? Nope. When I see someone from across the room who I know, and I should remember their name, but I don't remember their name, I take a moment and I look them up on my handheld CRM. Works like a charm. Works every time. Works like a charm. And speaking of works like a charm, if you are enjoying the Sellin' Podcast, please subscribe so you'll never, ever miss a single episode. Also, can you think of one person, a friend or another salesperson or a business owner, someone who you know would find the Sellin' Podcast helpful and of interest? Please take a moment and send them a link to the Sellin' Podcast from your favorite podcast directory and tell more people about the Sellin' Podcast. You'll be helping them to grow their business, and by introducing the show to more listeners, you will be helping me to reach a wider audience, and I would really appreciate that. Thank you. We've discussed strategies to help you remember other people's names. Next, let's move on to a very important part of name recognition, which is to help other people to remember your name so they don't feel embarrassed. And most importantly, they'll remember your name when it comes to contacting you to do business with them. Help other people to remember your name. How do we do that? Number one, when introduced to someone, smile with an authentic smile. High cheekbones, smile. Smile with your eyes. Look them in the eyes and clearly state your name slowly and how you came to be introduced to them. Perhaps mention a mutual friend, a mutual business associate, perhaps the organization you both belong to, that you both are wearing charcoal gray suits or both wearing a red tie. Perhaps both of you have been in the same business for more than 20 years, that you like to vacation in Brazil, whatever it is, help them to make some association to your name and then repeat your name again. These are some examples that I can think of that I have used recently to help others to make associations to my name so they remember me and they remember my name. At a golf outing I was at this year, I've said this many, many times. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Jeffrey. I love attending this golf outing. I've been on the golf committee for this organization for more than 10 years. I smile and I say, think of me as Jeffrey of the golf outing committee. They will never forget my name. At an informal business networking event, I met someone for the second time and I said, hello, nice to see you again. I'm Jeffrey. You may recall that we were introduced by Christine. I'm Jeffrey, mutual friend of Christine. So nice to see you again. That person will never forget my name. I was at an annual fundraiser for a university event, and I said to several people, hello, nice to meet you. My name is Jeffrey. I don't know if you were here at this event 2 years ago. However, I'm so proud to say that I won the annual award at this awards dinner 2 years ago. I put a big authentic smile on my face and I said, I'm Jeffrey, the award winner, with a big smile. They will always associate that annual fundraiser to me, and they will never forget my name. I recently attended a trade association event and met someone who had on a beautiful tie. I was sincere, always, of course. And I said, I'm Jeffrey. I just love your tie. I've got a thing for burgundy ties. I do have a thing for burgundy ties. I've got a thing for burgundy ties. Nice to meet you. I have several burgundy ties myself. They are so professional, and they go with every suit I own. A burgundy tie and a pair of Cordovan shoes or wingtips, beautiful. I love it. Dress for success. That is a beautiful tie. My name is Jeffrey. Nice to meet you. Again, they will never forget my name. Help others to make some association to your name. If it's important when remembering other people's names to make some association to their names, help other people to remember your name by helping them to make some association to your name. Number 2, follow up with everyone you meet. Everyone, Jeffrey? Yes, everyone. Some examples, connect with them on LinkedIn or whatever social media platform you prefer. Send them an introductory email with some valuable content, perhaps the topic of which you had discussed when you first met them. Give them a phone call. Hello, this is Jeffrey. It was nice to meet you at the XYZ event. I was just thinking about you. Let's compare calendars. Next month, get together and see how we may have an opportunity to refer business opportunities to one another. Meet them soon after you first met them for the first time. Or send them a handwritten note. I know, it's old school. However, if you are truly interested in having others remember your name, send them a handwritten note. They'll never forget your name. I walk into offices where people still have my handwritten note taped to their office wall 10, 20, 30 years later after I have sent them a handwritten note. Think they'll ever forget my name? No way. They see my name every single day when they get to the office. When following up with people after meeting them, whether by email, phone, LinkedIn, or in person, you are reminding them of your name and your company's name and what you do. Just keeping in touch with people is a great reminder about them remembering you and remembering your name. You're helping them to remember your name. Number 3, after introductions, hand people a business card and repeat your name. Tell them what you do and repeat your name again. This is my business card. I'm Jeffrey from XYZ. The business card is also a reminder of your name. Every time they see your card, they'll remember your name. Business cards help others to remember you and remember your name. They help them to remember not only your name, but your company's name and what your company does. Of course, business cards help others to remember your name. Number 4, keep in mind that the best way to get other people to remember your name is to remember their name. I was just recently at a business holiday party. Someone who I'd met once, or maybe twice, but I think once, at a previous trade association event in the industry came up to me like an old friend and said, Jeffrey, so nice to see you again. The guy looked familiar. I know I'd met him, but for the life of me, I just couldn't remember his name. Was I embarrassed? Of course I was. Oh, I made it a point to ask someone else at the event to tell me in confidence this gentleman's name. I went home that evening, I looked him up on LinkedIn, and I made damn sure that I memorized his name. Will I ever forget his name ever again? No f***ing way. The point is, the very best way to get others to remember your name is to remember their name. By the way, this gentleman's name, who I met at the business holiday event, his name is Alex. Great guy. If you're listening, Alex, thank you. I appreciate you coming up to me and introducing yourself once again. And I look forward to following up with you in the new year to see how we may have an opportunity to refer business opportunities to one another. Alex, thank you. Number 5, next time you see them, repeat your name again. And if you can remember, mention where and when you first met them. They'll almost certainly make the association again, and you will be helping them to remember your name. Number 6, when introducing yourself, try to tell a story about yourself or a story about your name. For example, when I tell a story about myself, sometimes I'll say, I've been in the business for 35 years. We'll see if it works out. It's just kind of funny, and it's kind of a story about myself. Or tell a story about your name. You have an interesting name? Alexander? Tell a story about Alexander the Great. Keep it short, but make the association, right? When introducing yourself, try to be creative. Tell a story about yourself or a story about your name. Number 7, when finishing the conversation and breaking away, repeat your name. So when I've had a conversation with someone, I've asked them some questions, I've developed rapport, I've learned about them, and then I break away from them and I move on to meet with other people. But before I break away, I'll actually say to them, remember, my name is Jeffrey. I look forward to following up with you in the future. It was nice to meet you. Remember, my name is Jeffrey. Look forward to seeing you at the next trade association event. I'm going to include a link in this episode's podcast notes so you can watch a video called How to Remember People's Names. Memorize names instantly. It's a video by Jim Quick, author of Limitless. In this short video, Quick gives great advice on how to memorize people's names, and he discusses even more techniques for remembering names, including the use of visualization and what he calls the 6-second syndrome, that are additional tools that you can use to remember people's names. It's a great video. It's not too long. I highly recommend that you watch it, and I'm going to include a link in this episode's podcast show notes. Use these tools and strategies to remember people's names. It is so important in business. So John, Jose, Mohammed, Zhang, Wei, Wang, Ahmed, Ali, Liam, Maria, Fatima, Anna, Mary, Elizabeth, Sophia, Emma, Olivia, Isabella, Martha, Liam, Noah, Oliver, Theodore, James, Henry, Mateo, Elijah, Lucas, William, Amelia, Charlotte, Mia, Isabella, Evelyn, Ava, and all of the rest of you. Now get out there and sell.
We hope you found this episode of the Sellin' Podcast helpful and of interest. Please make sure to like, rate, and review. And mention this podcast to a friend or a business associate. Have a comment about this podcast? Have a topic you'd like Jeffrey to discuss? Feel free to contact Jeffrey directly at jeffrey@sellin.net. He'll read and review every one of your emails. That's jeffrey@sellin.net. .net as in networking for success in sales. Now, take what you've learned today and get out there and sell. See you next time on the Sellin' Podcast.